We're starting. I'm going to take a little tour of my farm. I'm going to invite you to come over here and do some woofing, which means you work for 3 or 4 hours a day and you help me build my paradise, which at the moment has a few fruit trees. You see the background? Look, this is my cherry. A bit windy at the moment. My apricot named Indra, after my first volunteer, doing particularly well. Apparently a wild pig ate its fruit last year. Here we are. Have a nice little mountain lake. Catch them. Here's a locat named Dylan. Named Dylan because a German boy is staying with some friends of mine and helped plant it. Peach. I'll take you to the cemetery. This is where we have now 5 animals buried. Let me just show you something of our olives. The trees produce abundantly this year. Yeah, this is just, you can see how we're going to preserve these olives. Gave up, it's too much olive fly. Put everything in for oil. This formerly had a teepee structure and it was blew down just about a week ago, and anyway, you can see it's a bit of a sacred space for me, and it will be a meditation space eventually. Cookie, Tigger, Kitten, Rocky, that's Jerry, he's not ready. Leo, and this one for the latest dog, which is paralysed and probably has a lift before. Eventually I will build a structure here of sorts, but as you can see I'm using it as a mulch pit, so that's thick grass mulch. And this breaks down, I use this around the trees, so when I mow the land, all the fine stuff comes here. Could actually make a good animal pen. It seems to be an animal place at the moment for my animal or animated spirit as well. Very dry here now near the Barranco, which is a dry riverbed. That wind is coming up. There'll be a compost toilet over there eventually, the structure. The only fig at this end of the land, which was here when we first came. Here's a picture of the dry riverbed. Beautiful landscape there. I go down it with the dog sometimes. I caught a rabbit once. There's wild pig and lots of herbs. You can see the land here. It's so maybe just a few centimetres of topsoil. Most of it's just rock. So the rosemary grows so prolifically. You know, you'll spend £6-7 on one of these plants. Garden centre. Have a look at, you can see there's pines and olives. This is alcalobe. We crop the alcalobe so they fall to the ground, and we pick them up after we've done the olives. 1 male tree to every 5 females, I think, is the pollination rate. Pollination mixing rate. Oh yeah, there's a pomegranate to which 2 Austrians came this year, 2 beautiful girls, and planted in their honour. It's my cisterna. Interestingly, Jerry doesn't normally go in here, but this is going to be a cisterna, which is a cistern for holding maybe about 80,000 litres of water, with converted into an ecological swimming pool. And maybe at a later stage I will build a structure over the top of it to live in. But this will be the reinforcing wire, as you can see. And my technique here is to build 2 dry stone walls with a cavity in the middle, and that will be filled with waterproof concrete. And then it will be rendered on the inside to produce an egg-shaped curve. Somehow I have to move the water around to make sure that biologically breaks down and and destroys any pathogens. But it's a huge amount of rock and work here. My volunteers, when they come, the land is prolific with rock, so you may as well use it for something. It's not a bad job considering it's just a throw together dry stone wall which is going to be infilled with concrete. Good for it is. But it's probably about 20 tonnes of stone I've moved here already at least. Maybe even more, maybe about 40 tonne. Have a look. This will be an entrance way. I've already started planting up some cacti and things like that, but this is one of the first things I built here was this interesting stairway, and that will lead up to the top of the rim, which will be about 5 feet tall, 6 feet tall, so it's going to be a massive structure, a lot of pressure. I'm going to build a nice grand stairway if I ever do a house. Here's the king's chair. My arse just a bit too big for that at the moment, and again more drive over bed in that direction and looking over to the neighbours. This land here, I do want to show you something just before we get to the polytunnel, which is my pride and joy at the moment. But look at this for dry stone walling, and you only get better with practice. There's something you can learn here. This whole wall has been repaired by me, and I just used odd bits of rock. See? Lying around, odd bits of rock lying around. Oops. And here we are, coming up to what's going to be my outdoor kitchen, using agave flower spikes. Agave flower spikes. Yeah? They can grow this sort of length in 1 month. And now you could put a canvas here, but it'd probably just rip to pieces. So look at the technique which I've used on the polytunnel. Bamboo cut from the dry river beds. And again, a lovely activity to spend half a day collecting with volunteers, going down and with the dogs, and then coming back with a whole bundle of stuff and weaving onto metal foam. It essentially gave me an idea that I could build a house. This technique may be plastered in cob or adobe, adobe or cob over the outside of the external kitchen area here to keep that waterproof. Inside there will be sinks which have a grey water outlet into the beds. And take a closer look at these beds. Yeah, you can see I have an irrigation system set up there. I will show you that when we get to the other end of it. But already I have onions and garlic and bulb beans coming up, bulb beans and peas, and some self-seeded aubergine and tomatoes from last year, doing extremely well. And because of all the rain we've had, everything is really doing well, including some weeds. But this grass is really looking gorgeous here. I mean, this is my favourite part of the whole land here. I've prepared walls over there, maybe where I'm showing you now, and over here, and eventually incorporate a lot more fruit and diversity to the landscapes. So predominantly we have alcarobes or alcarobas or carob trees, olive and almond, which are scattered here and there. And I've actually got success grafting fruit trees onto almond stumps or almond rootstocks. So almonds which can deal with a very dry climate during the summer and most of the year round, form a perfect base for maybe apricot, plum, peaches, and various other types that can go on top of it or grafted into it. So look at this. Tomatoes are coming up, aubergines. There's an aubergine. Cauliflowers and cabbage. All doing very nice. And this irrigation system given to me by my friend called Charlie, who's got a fantastic organic farm in Toledo, well, Bonastre actually. And also the option to take volunteers there also as part of belong to my group, which you need to register and subscribe to. If you want to spend some time here and have specific uses, then you it's free if you work, but if you want use of the kitchen and that type of thing, then you have to pay a small rate. But you need to register to come here. Look at soteriologicgarden.com, soteriologicgarden.com, which is SOLTERIOLOGIC garden, soteriologicgarden.com, and there you have you see all the pictures of what's going on here and some videos. That's interesting, dog. This is a kaki or shaman fruit, beautiful fruit. Free draining soil, needs a bit of shelter, mustn't dry out basically. We're going to plant this one today because my sister and her boyfriend are here and I like to honour their presence. But look at this entranceway made by started by some friends of mine called Lorraine and Danny, who have a farm not far from here. And I've started to incorporate a roof structure. Have a look at this. See that? Amazing what you can do with free resources. If you haven't got money, what do? You have to. It's for free. Okay, so this is another little cistern. It's going to be a pond, hopefully frogs and that type of thing. Yeah. Now it needs to be waterproofed, and I will concrete the paths as well to a degree, so that any rainfall that comes down washes straight into here. And as this collects, it's only small because there's such a massive piece of bedrock under there that I couldn't smash through it, and I haven't got tools to do that. I decided that I can fit some sort of bullcock system on an inverted bullcock, which means when it gets to a particular level, trigger a pump run on a 12-volt system, and then throw the water into the cisterna here. And this cisterna opens up with a battery-operated timer and irrigates the beds during the spring and possibly during the summer when I'm not here during the summer, but when I'm not here it can still run if there's any water in the cisterna. Of course. There we are. And the other important thing is wind breaks, so I've put in the infrastructure here to really create a protected zone. This old rubble, just from the park. In front of the dog pen. Potential to have chickens over there. A windbreak. And these are cypress trees. Grow very quickly once they get going. But actually prevents the wind from coming over onto that polytunnel. Anyway, there's a lot more to show. There's another example of my walls I'm moving. It's quite enjoyable, see. It's almost like saying, like writing a chapter in a book. Here's another windbreak, which I moved this year because I thought it was just the wrong place, which is a shame. I thought about it for 2 years before I decided, and they really suffered. They went a bit pale, a bit yellow, but we've just had torrential rain, and it's quite possible that I've got away with it. And then there's another windbreak over there. And here you come. Here's the gaffer. That's why he's got free roam and bigger territory than the other dogs. Right, and there's my humble abode. And you can call me or email me at info@southlondonpermaculture.com. Yeah, that's probably the best email address. You can find all the other details online, but Soteriologic, SOLTERIO logicgarden.com, and it's all there. Thank you. Over and out.